Hello, this is Dr. Tim Conley with the Wurzweiler School of Social Work. Thanks for clicking into this informational video in PowerPoint on our postgraduate programs. I'm going to go ahead and start running the slides, which I will leave on the website as well. You can download the slides. That way you'll have my contact information and a little more information that I make available at the end of the show. So let's talk about the postgraduate CASAC programs at the Wurzweiler School of Social Work, Yeshiva University. You'll see me glancing left or right now to keep an eye on the screens, make sure I'm on the right slide. What is a CASAC? This stands for Credentialed Alcohol and Substance Abuse Counselor in New York State. This is a credential that's issued by the Office of Addiction Supports and Services, OASAS. You can go to their website and garner much more information about this credential. Wurzweiler is an approved educational provider for the credential, both in our MSW program and in what I'm talking about with you today, the post-grad CASAC stuff. The need is critical. It's why Wurzweiler has invested heavily in developing 3 graduate level courses in addictions and then turning those graduate level courses into postgraduate training, which you can take to achieve your CASAC. Why? Because labor statistics predict that there'll be a huge increase in jobs for addiction specialists. And we're not sure where the workforce is going to come from to deal with America's opioid epidemic, which has been raging unchecked behind the pandemic, which is fortunately, hopefully winding down as I record this. There has been an increase in alcohol and other drug use as a result of the pandemic. Many people are seeking treatment. Providers are hard to find. So there's a critical workforce shortage. Duly credentialed professionals are highly sought after and valued members of the practice community. Wurzweiler's professional CASAC programs include 2 of them. One for those who hold an MSW, those who hold another related graduate degree. Let's talk about both of them. For the MSWs, it's designed for individuals who already have a master's in social work, either an LMSW, an LCSW, LCSWR. It consists of 16 weeks of training. That's 100 hours. 85 of those hours are section 1 of the CASAC application. 85 hours are knowledge. The other 15 fulfill the ethics requirements in section 4 of the app. So we run that as 16 weeks. 14 plus 2. It's completely online and it's asynchronous. It is not live online. It does not require everybody to be at their computer at the same time. The lectures are recorded. The assignments are called asynchronous. They're due on a Sunday night and on a Thursday. So it goes from week to week. You consume the material, take the test, engage in the discussion, watch my lectures, other lectures, and proceed that way. So it is completely online. Postgraduate, this is designed for non-MSW holders who have another license, perhaps a licensed mental health counselor, licensed professional counselor. You could have a degree in vocational rehabilitation, a related master's degree. Related disciplines are described at the OASIS website. So you can just Google OASAS and muck around in there and see who else. Just download the application and see who else is eligible. It's 21 weeks of training, a little bit heavier on the ethics, but 130 hours. It is completely online as well. Let's get into the curriculum. What will you be learning to become a CASAC? You know, I've been asked before, hey, you know, I have 60 graduate credits in social work or, you know, a related field. Why am I not ready to start counseling people? Well, because addiction is a specialty. It's about 14% of the entire diagnostic manual, and every other diagnosis in the DSM-5 says to rule out substance use. You need to know how to do that. So for the 85 hours of training, we cover the dimensions of the profession, you know, how it differs from other professions when it started. 2 big modules on physical, psychological, pharmacological effects. I just recorded a series of videos on opiates, on alcohol, on non-alcohol sedative hypnotics, you know, on hallucinogens, et cetera. So there's some really good lecture material in there we've put together. Diversity of intervention treatment approaches. Screening in practice is huge. How can you rule out other diagnoses if you don't know how to assess, evaluate, and diagnose substance use disorders? It's very specific diagnostic criteria. Application of those criteria, Knowledge of 12-step and mutual aids we cover in the 85 hours of training, which, by the way, that's in common for both the MSWs and the non-MSWs. You're going to get that, that core training in knowledge. The curriculum is the same for both of those. It's the ethics piece that differs. Continuing, developmental stages of recovery, the payor systems. Some of that is geared specifically towards New York, but you need to understand Medicaid, Medicare, different carve-out plans, HMOs, how funding is, and watch the funding. It's changing a lot with with what is happening socially, politically, economically, and culturally with regards to substance use disorders. Testing in toxicology is huge. A lot of people I just gave a consult this morning on medication-assisted treatment. How do you know if somebody's only taking their methadone? Well, you test them and see if there's anything else there. Speaking of medication-assisted treatment, it's like I knew it was going to come up. MAT is growing. It's fast growing. There's a lot of good medications out there. This is the part of the info presentation for you guys that I try not to go into lecture mode. Because believe me, there's 6 hours of material on most of these topics. Nicotine dependence and smoking cessation, huge. Cigarettes kill so many people. We even cover how to do the OASIS application. So the professional and ethical responsibilities are to do with the counselor-client relationships. They're pretty intense with people who have an addictive disorder. More so than other cases, I don't know, different. There are many ethical dilemmas inherent in working with people with substance use disorders. One of which is, how do you stay healthy yourself? You're catching a lot of trauma. There's a lot of co-occurring disorders going on, many of which are trauma. So counselor wellness is covered, and the importance of professional development. For postgraduates, generally it's 45 hours. We'll talk more about that in a minute, how many hours, how many hours you need. It includes the same 15 as the MS stubs, plus 30 additional hours in these areas: confidentiality, legal issues, counselor-client relationships. Excuse me. For training dates, watch the website. There's one that started March 15th, 2021. There's another one in June, and we are going to start one in the fall. We're really going to put a push to try to get people in these trainings for the fall, because we get calls from agencies. Do you have grads? Remember, we run a graduate program for joint MSW CASACs as well. You'll see that when you get to the landing page. And we're being asked to place those graduates right into employment situations. So at any rate, watch the website. We're doing everything we can to get the trainings out. MSWs, you can apply anytime. You can apply months in advance for the next training session. Provide proof of your graduate degree. Do the application at the link here in the PowerPoints, which you can download. For others who have a master's degree other than MSW, complete the OASIS application, the CASAC application with OASIS. That is linked to on the website, which is linked to on the previous slide. So go to that landing page and take advantage of the different links that are there. There is even a separate video that I produced, a little rugged, but it tries to coach you through completing that CASAC application, because for the non-MSWs, you put your CASAC application into OASIS. They will give you what's called a letter of deficiency. It'll say, here's what we are going to count for your education. Here's what you're deficient in. Generally, it'll be the 85 hours of knowledge and then the 45 hours of ethics. But I don't know what's on your transcript. They will review your transcript and tell you what education you have left to get. Let me see if I can take this off screen sharing. Yes, I can. There we are. Here I sit at the Wurzweiler School of Social Work at Yeshiva University in New York, where we are fully committed to meeting the workforce training needs going forward as the United States grapples with and really an epidemic of addiction that must be dealt with. So you'll find more information on the landing page. You'll find these slides there as well. And I hope that I'll have the opportunity to work with you going forward.